Welcome to our Devos. This week we are talking about taking inventory. And that means that we're really examining that subject of stewardship. And this week we're devoting a whole week on learning how not to be broke. What do we do to make sure that we find ourselves, we don't necessarily have to be rich, but the goal is that we don't want to be broke or we don't want to be in debt. And that's what the subject is today. We're going to talk about debt. And one thing that is consistent across the board when it comes to debt. Debt creates bondage. Debt creates bondage. A question that I'm asked is debt a sin? Is it a sin to be in debt or credit card debt, financial debt? And I would caution you to use the word sin about debt, but I would also encourage you to look at what the scriptures teach about debt. And debt is always cautioned against, because it creates bondage. It causes an inverse relationship to you with somebody else. In particular, usually a bank, an institution, student loans, all of these things, you are now indebted, you are enslaved to the lender. Dave Ramsey built his entire career from this concept. His entire career is built around being debt-free because the relationship that you have with debt is created in a way where you can't get out from under it, no matter what. If you're making good money at work and that money is coming in, there's some voice out there, someone that is calling and saying, hey, don't forget, you owe me that money. Hey, don't forget, you have to pay me every month. And no matter what happens, no matter how much you earn, there is this invisible message going on that your earnings aren't really going to be entitled just to be for your life, but there are other people that have a provisional access to your money because of debt. And so as it says in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7, the rich rules over the poor, and the borrower is slave of the lender. I had a conversation with a young person, young as relative when you start to get a certain age, but this was a young lady who was going to college, and I was trying to give her some advice about college, and please be careful when you go to college, because I said, you got to be careful of what kind of degree you can get and what kind of career you can land as a result of that degree, because the worst thing to do is to go into college and just accumulate a bunch of debt and really not know where that degree is going to put you in terms of a job. And I was harping on this thing, and she goes, look, I just want to stop you right there. She goes, I know you, Pastor Mike, Pastor Ron, you talk about not having debt and living below your means and not going into school debt, but my family and most every family I know, everyone has debt. Nobody's paying their debt off. My parents, they have debt. They still are paying off student loan debt. And their parents, they still have mortgages. And, there's families that I'm close to, they have all this debt. So you guys are kind of weird in the way you think. And I said, well, you know what? I'm okay being weird in this case because debt is going to change your relationship with your career. If you come out of college and you immediately owe X amount of money going out because of student loans, and you don't know if you're going to have a job, that's a problem. I want to be the weird guy that says, oh, this degree or this certification costs this much, and I'm going to make this much as a result of it, and I'll pay that debt off soon. I want to be weird. You want to be weird. Listen, you have to look at this life as an opportunity to be weird, and that means you have to change your relationship to debt. Sure, you need a mortgage. Sure, you're going to find situations where you do have to go into debt, but you want to live your life as close to debt-free as possible. And most people, they're not taking out debt for mortgages. Right now on my app, if I want to, I can open up Grubhub, and you'll see there's a way that you can, and I'm going to talk about, I talked about this over the weekend, there's a way that you can put a burrito from Taco Bell on a payment plan. I mean, what are we doing? If you have 5 months left to pay on your chalupa, you're in trouble. I mean, it's over. And we are now so comfortable with the idea of debt that we're charging things that in a million years, our parents and our grandparents, they would have never thought about. So again, it's not a sin, but it's not wise, and it's dangerous because at some point you might lose the ability to make the money that you're making, or you might not be able to recoup if you made a business deal and it didn't go well. Well, your debt is going to be owed no matter what, and you become enslaved to that debt.